Only two shlokas. We'll have a small class today, hopefully. So this is Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, text number 30. So now this continues to explain the lamentation of Arjuna and what kind of symptoms he was feeling. न च शक्नोमि अवस्थातु
न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं
भ्रमतीव च मे मनः
भ्रमतीव च मे मनः
निमित्तानि च पश्यामि
निमित्तानि च पश्यामि
विपरीतानि केशव
विपरीतानि केशव
न च शक्नोमि अवस्थातुम. Aवस्थातुम means I am not able to stabilize myself. Shaknomi means avastha means to be situated, and shaknomi means I am not able to. Na cha shaknomi avasthatum. And because of this lamentation, I am not able to hold myself. Bhramati cha me mana. My mind is spinning around. Nimittani cha pashyami. Viparitani keshava. Nimittani means results. I am seeing pashyami. I am seeing opposite results. Opposite results. Okay, Shiva. So now you see, if before your endeavor you are seeing opposite results, why will you do that work? It's very simple. I have my experience. One time, Saran Thakur Prabhu, one of our brahmachari, met with an accident. So I was told, and he had a heavy accident. So myself and Sanak Sanatan Prabhu went there. So when I saw him all covered with blood, I fainted. Actually fainted. I don't have the capacity to see blood. So when I saw him all covered with blood, so my mind was like this. Brahmati which another Brajibari Prabhu was holding me. And I go, what is the point of my going there? Now I have to be admitted to hospital. Anyhow, after drinking some water, I was okay. I have that experience. Brahmati which you have heard? Have ever had that experience in your life? You also had? When? Oh, surgery. You saw a surgery. Yeah, so I cannot see blood. So in that way, I was feeling like that. So I'm just saying this is because of his extreme lamentation, he was feeling like that. Huh? Okay. I'm now unable to stand here any longer. I'm forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune. Oh Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. Gita Bhushan. I cannot even remain steady, and my mind seems to whirl about. Whirl about means go spin. This indicates the appearance of weakness and fainting. So you see, because of the status of mind, his body was also debilitating. I see opposite results, viparitani nimittani, in this war. Being victorious, so what are the results? Being victorious and gaining a kingdom will not give me bliss. Rather, it will give the opposite or remorse. This you understood? The point here being explained is opposite results. Even if I become victorious, now it's not that all the people on his sides will remain alive. Even if we accept that he is considering the other party as enemies, which he was not, even if we accept, but you must remember there was a possibility that Bhima could have died or Yudhishthira Maharaj could have died. Then what? Maybe he's the alone person. Then what? See, you are seeing from the reference frame of after Mahabharat. Are you able to, am I able to communicate? You are seeing it from the after the results. You know what happened after the Mahabharat Bar, but he was not knowing that. So there's a quite possibility that many people, even Yudhishthira Maharaj could have been killed or Bhima could have been killed, who were very dear to him. And also quite a possibility that Bhishma, Drona would have been killed, who were also his loved ones, isn't it? Shalya, we have discussed those things. So he said, what is the point? Even if I gain the kingdom, everybody dies. With whom I will enjoy this life? That's the point. That's why he's saying viparitani nimittani. Nimitta means result, as in the usage for what purpose or nimitta are you living here? Though that is how it is. So he's not finding any purpose in fighting the battle. Let me explain in some other way. Okay, when you are cooking every day, suppose at certain point you understand this recipe is going to spoil. Today only it happened. I don't know, but today it was nice. Everything was nice. We got nice nimittani. We got nice results. Did you taste anything bad? Nothing was bad. But I'm just saying, suppose you're cooking and you feel this is going to fail. Then what is the point? Then you will not have any. Okay. Sometimes when we write exams and the paper is so tough that you know that you're going to fail. So and when writing the paper half, and when you're half the way, अरे गया अभी तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Have you not experienced that? Many times experienced like this. So there also we say nimittani viparitani. We see opposite results. Nothing will happen like this. Purport. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield and he was forgetting himself on account of this weakness of his mind. I have highlighted this point. Excessive attachment for material things put a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. A very nice example is given. It's called sneha. Sneha. Sneha is called affection. Sneha is compared to ghee. So as long as there is ghee in the lamp will burn. That's why I highlighted this point. This is something nice to be seen in this whole purport. Are you able to see this point? As long as a person is attached in this world to this body or to the things which are the byproducts of the body, we're going to feel miserable. No? समझ में आ रहा है ना? Yeah. And then Prabhupada gives example, and it's because of his excessive attachment to his family members, he was feeling this kind of burning sensation. Okay? Bhayam dvitiyabhinivesh tasyad ishad apetasya viparya smriti. This is the shloka 11.2.37. Beautiful shloka. Why there is fear? Because a person is absorbed in dvitiyabhinivesh, absorbed in the bodily conception of life, where he thinks I'm this body and thinks I'm an enjoyer. Who is the enjoyer? Krishna is the enjoyer. So the living entity, when he begins to think I am a competitor of Krishna, Krishna may be an enjoyer, but I am also an enjoyer, then he becomes fearful. The natural inclination of the living entity to be subordinate to Krishna is removed, and he thinks I am a competitor of Krishna. I should also enjoy. I should have my own life, independent. Then he becomes absorbed in fear. You remember this? Avidya, Asmita, Rag, Dvesh, Abhinivesh. Abhinivesh was what? Fear of losing the sense objects. You remember that? Fear of death. When I will die, all the sense objects which are available to me will all be lost. Do you remember all those things? In which class I explained this? First class of Bhagavad Gita. Obviously, it was purport of Bhagavatam, so we don't say this what you're wrong, but we mentioned this point. Everybody, see, if you die, Pita, I should not say like this, but suppose you die or I die, do we have anything in this world? So we have very less anxiety because we have not collected any sense gratificatory things. So we have not so much anxiety to die, isn't it, Karnamrit? I mean, we may be fearful of a little bit pain, all those things, but not that much attachment. We don't have a big bank balance or anything. But those who have big bank balance and all those things, they have so much attachment. They are so fearful. That is naturally you can see. And the more we are the more this feeling comes that I'm a servant of Krishna, the more you become free from fear. Krishna will protect me. Make sense? And that happens by bhakti. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. So things is clear. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. This is we have explained earlier because all the relatives will die. The words nimittani viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? I give the example of exam, example of cooking. What else exams are? Suppose you have to reach somewhere, an important meeting, and you are in a jam. You feel why? What is this? I'm not going to reach in time like that. We feel like that. Okay. Everyone. Any other? One common frustration is when a person is in infatuation with a girl and the girl kicks him on the face. Then also he feels like that, isn't it? So many people commit suicide because of this. Why I'm living? What is the purpose of existence when she does not want me? We are brahmachari, so we are happy, but such kind of things are also very much prevalent. You must have seen all these things. You see this quite a white. Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Nate viduhu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. People don't understand it by serving Vishnu, by becoming a pure devotee, I can be happy. So they're just searching for sense, cheap sense gratification. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. So we must never condemn Arjuna. He's a pure devotee. He's just by the will of Lord. He's behaving like a attached person. Once real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna, the conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. What is that? Pritir na yukte mai bhasudeve. Till the time a person does not have love for Vasudev, Preeti for Vasudev, na muchyate na deha yoge na tavat. Till that time, this deha yoga, coming together of the soul with the body, will not stop. So, not realizing this, people invest in those things which actually bring them bondage. Not realizing that by serving Vishnu, by pleasing Vishnu, I'll go back to Godhead. Not I will use it's wrong. Realizing is a different thing. Not even knowing it. Not even knowing that I should serve Vishnu, I'm servant of Vishnu, Krishna. People just waste their energy, all their life's energy serving those things and objects which just bring him ruination, which just bring them again another birth. It's extremely heavy. The way we serve is nothing as the conditioned soul is serving illusion. Do you agree with it? How much I have spoken today? 3-4 hours. People are speaking 6 hours, 8 hours every day on call center, non-stop. Non-stop every day 8 hours. We have to only speak 2 hours. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Is it not? How much they are working, and the result will be next body, and then result will be next body, and the result will be next body. That's why Prabhupada says, and Prabhupada Krishna is also saying, that this knowledge one who gives to others is most dear to Krishna. If that knowledge is given, then someday it will definitely strike him and he will come to Krishna consciousness. The problem is the conditioned soul does not even get an opportunity to hear the message. This is the guiding principle of my life. Prabhupada says the ISKCON movement has been started to give people an opportunity to hear about Krishna. And they will only hear about Krishna when we speak about Krishna. And in that process, we get the blessing of the Lord. At least we give them an opportunity. How much they accept is up to them. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be a cause of lamentation for him. So he's not thinking whether Krishna will be pleased. And when at the end of Bhagavad Gita, what does it say? Karishe vachanam tava. My illusion has gone away. I understand now. I'm your servant. Again, he was always knowing Krishna is Krishna's servant. Just for the sake of our understanding, my illusion is gone. My only service is to please you. Karishe vachanam tava. You tell me to fight, I'll fight. You tell me to stop, I'll stop. Simple. Last means today's last. Nacha shreyam anupashyami.
Nacha shreyo anupashyami.
Hatva swajanamahave.
Hatva swajanamahave.
Nakangshe vijayam Krishna.
Nakangshe vijayam Krishna.
Nacha rajyam sukhani cha.
Nacha rajyam sukhani cha.
Nacha shreyo anupashyami. And also I do not see, I am not able to see any good fortune coming out of it. Shreya means something future beneficial. Something which will be beneficial for us in the future is called Shreya. You understand this Shreya and Preya? You understand? Preya means something which is good to my senses and body now, and Shreya means something which is good for my future. So say, I'm not seeing any Shreya from this. I'm not going to get benefit from this. Hatva sajanamahave. Why are you saying like this? Because we are going to kill our own relatives. Even if I kill somebody who's not my relative, that is not good. And now I'm going to kill, ahave means in the fight, I'm going to kill my own relatives. I'm not fighting with outside people. Then how can I get any shreyas? That's his logical, illusionary concept. But you will get victory. You will get what is that? you'll get the kingdom. Then he says, Na kangshe vijayam Krishna. Oh Krishna, I don't want victory. Na cha rajyam sukhani cha. I do not want happiness of kingdom. So you can see his detachment also from material enjoyment. Am I going too fast? Able to understand? Okay. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. Commentary. Having expressed his lamentation, which was unfavorable for knowledge of truth, Tattvagyan, he now expresses his contrary intelligence, which was unfavorable for knowledge of truth. Okay. Earlier, he was lamenting. Because of his lamentation, he was feeling quivering of all these things, mental and bodily disturbances. So because of that, he was not able to, at this point, he was not able to understand the truth. Now using his intelligence, this intelligence is corrupted intelligence, by which in this intelligence also, he cannot ascertain if there is any good in the war. Earlier, by as earlier descriptions, it is shown that he is lamenting, shok kar raha hai, lamentation. Because of the lamentation, he cannot understand the truth. That was explained up till text number 30. Now he is using his intelligence. I am not seeing anything good in this. But this kind of intelligence is also not proper, will be explained in the commentary. Having killed my relative in this war, Ahave, I do not see any benefit at all. Now he is not able to see the benefit which is quoted here by the Acharya. Dvau imau purushaule kwe surya mandala bhedinau parivrad yoga yuktascha rane chabhimukhe hatah. Dvau imau purusho loke. In this loka, in this world, there are two kinds of people. Surya mandala bhedinau, who enter into the Surya planet. Parivrad yoga yuktascha. Parivrada means parivragachari. You remember this? So a sannyasi who's engaged in yoga practice, and rane cha bhimukhe hata, a person who fights in the battle facing the army. So a sannyasi will go into Surya, and also a kshatriya will go. So his intelligence is not thinking like this. You understand? If a kshatriya would have fought, he would have entered into higher planetary systems, but he's not understanding this right now. The sannyasi engaged in yoga and the warrior who dies facing the enemy attain the sun planet, Parashar Smriti. We see from the scriptures that being killed is beneficial, but killing my relatives is not at all beneficial for me. So it's very interesting. You see, he says there, I know this shloka. But that's a problem, when we are intelligence is bewildered, we use the proper shloka, but in a wrong way. So he says, yes, if they kill me, it's all right. I'll fight with them, and they kill me, I can go to sun planet. But I have to kill my relatives. Then that's a sin. How will I go to the Surya planet? Like Surya means sun planet, like this. So I'm not seeing any Shreya, any higher reason for me to fight this battle. Okay? Now you understand? If the Sandhi is analyzed to form the word aswajanam, then the meaning is, since killing non-relatives has no benefit, how much more sinful will it be to kill my relatives? Look at the shloka again. Here. Hatva swajanam. Can you see the shloka? Hatva swajanam. Hatva means having killed, swajanam, my relatives. Now, if it was in Sanskrit, you can divide it different way. Hatva aswajanam. Are you able to see? If they know Sanskrit, is the meaning. So then the meaning will be, by killing those who are not my relatives, there is no shreyas. Then what is the point of killing my relatives? That's how he explains. Beautiful explanation. Hatva aswajanam mahave. In the fighting, if I kill unnecessary people who are not my relatives, I'll incur sin. So what to talk of killing my relatives? Then the meaning is, since killing non-relatives has no benefit, how much more sinful will it be to kill relatives? Each and every shloka of Bhagavad Gita is amazing, isn't it? How the Acharya is explaining it. But you will gain fame, kingdom, and wealth. This is the next part. If Krishna tells him, These are the visible results of fighting. Then Arjuna says, I do not desire these things because of giving up desire for kingdom and wealth. I have no interest in gaining victory to attain it. Just as a person who has lost interest in food has no interest in cooking. This I can understand. When you cook in the morning, it is more tasty. I don't know. Karanamrit Prabhu does not take prasadam, but normally when you are hungry, you might like to cook also. But when you have no hunger, then why you want to cook? So that's what he's saying. I have no desire to eat. Sorry, I have no desire to gain victory and get wealth, and I get victories. And why should I fight? Where is Krishna? Now you understand? Later on, also the same situation. Arjuna is still not desirous of victory. He simply wants to please Krishna. That is the position of devotee. He is not interested in victory or loss. He wants to be Krishna's instrument. He wants to please Krishna. That is the point. समझ रहे हैं विजय? कुछ कुछ टपक रहा है मन में? Therefore, living in the forest would be a more commendable means of maintaining my life. That's what we think most of the time. If there is any difficulty in seva, I'll give up. But that's not what Krishna wants us to do. Purport. Without knowing that one's self-interest is in Vishnu or Krishna, conditioned souls are attracted by bodily relationships, hoping to be happy in such situations. Each and every purport of Srila Prabhupada is so beautiful. That's why we love to read Srila Prabhupada's purports. Isn't it? So many people, almost all the people, are investing 100% of their energy in thinking that I'll be happy by having a happy family life. And they don't get rewarded at all. I won't say 1%, 2%, 0%, no reward practically. Sutamita Ramani Samaje, Prabhupada quotes that shloka. What is this happiness of friendship, society, and love? Material friendship, society, and love. Not Vaishnava society, material society. It's like in a desert, you get a drop of water. You can say there is some happiness, but if you give a drop of water to a person who's in a desert, how can he be happy? In such a blind conception of life, they forget even the cause of material happiness. Blind conception of life, just like a blind man does not know any road, nothing he knows. As a devotee, we must reflect upon it, what a mercy Krishna has given on us. Like when Sanatan Goswami was rescued, he comes to Mahaprabhu. Then Mahaprabhu says that Krishna has saved you from hellish materialistic life. Something to that effect. Same thing he tells to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And he says that material life is like this, it makes us blind to the truth. The more we enjoy sense gratification, the more we cannot see the truth. It's amazing. And then the more we'll enjoy, the more we cannot see the truth. And then again we enjoy more, and then again we cannot see the truth more. The darkness becomes more and more. That is the nature of sense gratification. Is Mahaprabhu's words when you see the meeting of Raghunath Das Goswami with Mahaprabhu. It's a very hitting statement. And the more we control our senses, then we can realize, we can see how there is suffering in this material world. I can just see how the baby is so much helplessly dependent on the mother. And we have all gone through that helpless stage. And do we want to go through it again? I mean, at least we should not desire it. It is said that two kinds of men, just like I saw the daughter of my sister, she had some, cold and cough, and she was crying and she could not express herself. Completely helplessly dependent on the mother. It's amazing that the parents cannot see the suffering of the child. I mean, they can see, but they cannot see that they themselves have gone through that. And if they don't practice Krishna consciousness, the next time there is next era which is going to start. Anyways, Arjuna appears to have even forgotten the moral codes for a Kshatriya. It is said that two kinds of men, namely the Kshatriya, who dies on the battlefront, and the person in the renounced order of life who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture, are eligible to enter into the sun globe, which is so powerful and dazzling. Arjuna is reluctant even to, this we have discussed that. Arjuna is reluctant even to kill his enemies let alone his relatives. Prabhupada is using that point. Aswajanam. If killing the enemies is sinful, what to talk of killing the relatives? So he's including that point. He thinks that by killing his kinsmen, there would be no happiness in his life, and therefore he is not willing to fight. Just as a person who does not feel hunger is not inclined to cook. All these points we have discussed. He has now decided to go into the forest and live a secluded life in frustration. But as a Kshatriya, he requires a kingdom for his subsistence means maintenance, because the Kshatriyas cannot engage themselves in any other occupation. This is the argument given by Lord Krishna to Duryodhana, that they are not Brahmanas, they are not Vaishyas or Shudras, they are Kshatriyas. At least give them 5 villages so that they can rule nicely and they will be happy. But he said, no, I will not give like this. So they are supposed to rule. But Arjuna has no kingdom. Arjuna's sole opportunity for gaining a kingdom lies in fighting with his cousins and reclaiming the kingdom inherited from his father, which he does not like to do. Therefore, he considers himself fit to go to the forest to live a secluded life of frustration. Now, frustration, why? Because people would have called him a coward. And devotees explain like this, that he's saying, I'm going to go to the forest. Now somebody will say, hey Arjun, see, such a coward. Then again he will take up a Gandhi and fight. It's very difficult to give up one's swabhav. That's why Lord is saying you fight now, because that is your duty. So better to engage as per our swabhav under the direction of superiors and doing our duty instead of stopping our swabhav. We must learn to channelize our swabhav in Krishna's service. I was reflecting upon it. Like I like to talk about Krishna. I like to give classes. But for me to cook like Karnamrit Prabhu will be a big headache. I cannot do that. Maximum is I can make khichdi. Bas. You understand my point? If I ask Karnamrit Prabhu to make flower garlands for Radha Shamsundar every day, it may be difficult for you. Is it not? Maybe Pitambar, he has some bhav, little bit. But you see, Matajis are doing for 30 years non-stop. There is no high and low in Krishna consciousness. Everybody is different. Samudra Prabhu is sick, but still is so much serving. It's just everybody's subhav is like that. Somebody likes to cook, somebody likes to speak, somebody likes to eat, eat means eat, everybody likes to eat, or somebody likes to do kirtan. So everybody is different, and that's how we'll express his love for Krishna. We can't just how to stifle, the word stifle समझते हैं, किसी गर्दन दबा देना. We can't just stifle that. The proper leader is that who can help devotees, how to say, find out what is their swabhav and engage that swabhav in Krishna's service. Then a devotee will be happy. But here we see Arjuna is trying to stifle his swabhav. His nature is to fight. He's a powerful warrior and Krishna wants him to fight. Krishna does not want him to go to forest. So like that. So that's what we should try to learn and understand what is our swabhav and then engage in Krishna's service. Any questions? No. Okay, so we shall stop here. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय.